Ukraine's unmanned systems forces say they destroyed Russian infantry numbers equivalent to 2 battalions in just 2 days in Donetsk Oblast. The figure was reported by SBS Commander Robert Madyar-Brovdy in public posts on social media. Most of the losses occurred in Donetsk Oblast, in eastern Ukraine, where Russian forces have been trying to seize the remaining territory for months. Brovdy reported that SBS drone units struck about 505 Russian infantrymen on the 11th of December alone. Alongside the dedicated drone forces branch, the Ukrainian Army and Special Services have their own drone units. The drone force commander said these losses were inflicted only by external SBS drone pilots and did not include the actions of other Ukrainian Defense Forces units. He added that the Phoenix unit within the SBS grouping accounted for 109 of these Russian losses during the same day. A day earlier, on the 10th of December, Brovdy reported that SBS drones hit another 471 Russian infantrymen. He said this figure also corresponds to the combat strength of a battalion. Russia's 76th Guards Air Assault Division, redeployed in Donetsk Oblast, reportedly suffered the heaviest losses under Ukrainian drone strikes, according to SBS Commander Robert Madyar-Brovdy. Russian forces concentrated in this sector also attempted a mechanized assault near Pokrovsk. According to Brovdy, SBS data show an average of 282 Russian soldiers hit per day in November, rising to 395 per day during the first 11 days of December. He said the elimination of Russian manpower is now a priority task for Ukraine's defense forces. The Atlantic Council noted that in what it says is widely recognized as the world's first drone war, the smaller and more innovative Ukrainian military initially held the initiative in the deployment of drones, but the Russians have learned important lessons from early setbacks and are now steadily eroding Ukraine's advantage. Significantly, it was not just the technology, but the means and funding of its delivery that were standout features of Ukraine's war effort. At the start of the full-scale invasion, Ukraine's vibrant tech sector represented an important asset that the authorities in Kyiv were quick to mobilize, the council paper said. This tech prowess helped cement the country's strategic focus on drones, which could be designed and produced domestically to compensate for a lack of more conventional weapons. That tech sector in Ukraine, and also in the Baltic states, has not just been agile in terms of changing technology, but in terms of finding innovative ways to fund the purchase of drones. It says much about the nature of this war that Ukraine has a Deputy Minister of Defense for Digital Transformation. There are 2 online marketplaces where Ukrainian brigades can order drones and other weapons using either government or private funding for a 10-day delivery. But all that nimbleness is now being challenged by a Russian military that has undergone its own transformation from its very 20th century approach of troops and tanks seen in the early stages of its full-scale invasion. The Atlantic Council said Russia had been both studying Ukrainian tactics and technologies, but also dramatically expanding its own domestic drone manufacturing base. The Kremlin has been aided in this by allies including China and Iran, who have provided vital components, along with the blueprints for key drone designs, the council said. The Kremlin strategy has focused on mass producing a limited range of models for use on the battlefield and in the bombardment of Ukrainian cities. This methodical approach has paid dividends. As reported, Ukraine has carried out its first ever strike on Russia's offshore oil infrastructure in the Caspian Sea, disabling a major production platform with long-range drones operated by the Security Service of Ukraine. The attack targeted the Filanovsky oil platform, one of Russia's largest offshore assets in the Caspian, and part of the Lukoil Nizhnevolskneft portfolio. The site features proven reserves of roughly 129 million tons of oil and 30 billion cubic meters of gas, with output typically exported through the Caspian Pipeline Consortium. According to sources familiar with the operation, the strike was carried out by operators from the SBU's elite Alpha Special Operations Unit. At least 4 impacts were recorded on the platform. As a result, oil and gas production from more than 20 wells it services has stopped, one source told Suspilm. The strike is unprecedented. Ukraine has never before hit any Russian oil extraction facility in the Caspian Sea. The area lies far from the front lines, underscoring Kyiv's expanding capability to reach deep into the infrastructure that fuels Russia's war. An informed SBU source framed the operation as part of a broader campaign to degrade Russia's energy sector. The SBU continues successful operations against Russia's oil and gas industry, continually expanding the geography. Cotton in the Caspian Sea is another reminder that every enterprise supporting Russia's war effort is a legitimate target, no matter where it is located. The source said, "The extent of the damage to the Filanovsky platform is still being assessed, but the shutdown of production across more than 20 wells marks one of the most disruptive Ukrainian strikes on Russia's energy infrastructure to date." Earlier, a strike drone hit Russia's Caspian Sea Fleet missile boat in Dagestan, according to video evidence shared by residents, which shows the moment of impact at the Caspian Sea Naval Base in Kaspisk. The strike reached approximately 1,500 kilometers from Ukraine's border, a considerable distance for the drone to travel undetected by Russian air defenses. While Russian officials initially reported that all drones were intercepted, videos from the scene show the strike landing on the naval base, where various missile and artillery ships are stationed, including advanced Project 11661K Gepard vessels. The Caspian Fleet's missile-carrying vessels include Gepard boats, Project 21631 Buyan M corvettes, and the Project 22800 missile corvettes, each equipped with vertical launchers for 8-caliber cruise missiles. These missiles have been used to strike Ukraine from the Caspian Sea. Experts confirm damage to a Project 12411 missile boat armed with 4 Kh-35 anti-ship missiles, a 76mm automatic AK-176 gun, 2 AK-630M 6-barrel 30mm anti-aircraft artillery systems, and portable Strela 3 or Verba manpads. This vessel serves primarily as a light attack boat targeting surface vessels with limited strike and air defense capabilities. According to official reports, the Caspian Fleet no longer maintains this missile boat model, suggesting that it could be either a reserve unit or stored as a surplus. These attacks are causing panic in the North Caucasus.